Welcome to the Own Up podcast with your host, Jennifer Long.
Welcome back to Own Up, the podcast. We're continuing our robot book club today with an AI analysis of Chapter 2 of Jen Long's first book, Own Up, How to Hold People Accountable Without All the Drama. We hope you enjoy.
Ever feel like giving feedback or holding someone accountable is kind of like, navigating a minefield? It's like one wrong step and boom, you're not alone. It's something I think we all struggle with, right?
Absolutely. It can definitely feel that way.
So in this deep dive, we're going to try to diffuse that feeling, make accountability a little less, explosive.
Love that.
We're diving into Chapter 2 of Jennifer T. Long's Own Up.
Great book.
And she really breaks down how to make accountability, wait for it, your superpower.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, she starts off by saying that accountability is actually three things. It's a mindset, a skill set, and a practice.
And you know what's so interesting about that? She doesn't just tell you to be better at it, right? She actually gives you this framework, this really helpful way to think about it.
Okay, I'm hooked already. But before we even get to that framework, she dives into the why accountability feels so dang hard in the first place.
Right. Like, what is it about those conversations?
It's like there's this emotional minefield we have to navigate first.
Absolutely. And, the book really reassures us on that point. It's not just, us or anything. It's deeply human. We all grapple with these things.
Mm-hmm.
Fear, vulnerability, even our own desire for connection can make it tricky.
Okay, so let's break those down a bit because I think that's really important to understand. So first up, fear. Long talks about the fear of the unknown, fear of someone's reaction, heck, even just fear of uncertainty itself.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. It's like our brain's natural fight, flight, or freeze response going haywire. And I think that's often where we see those, not so helpful reactions.
Yeah.
Like avoiding the conversation altogether, getting defensive, or even like bulldozing through it without really listening.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're so busy trying to protect ourselves, that clear, empathetic communication just goes right out the window.
It's so true. So it's like that fear that can make us just clam up or turn into a bull in a china shop.
Right.
And neither of those are a good look.
Definitely not.
But Long doesn't leave us hanging with that fear, right? She goes on to talk about vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is such a big one.
It is. This is where that feeling of exposure comes in, that feeling of being out in the open, potentially judged or found inadequate. It's so easy to internalize those feelings. And then how does it show up? In how we communicate.
Ugh, that resonates. Like we think, if I don't get this perfectly right, I'm the one who's going to look bad. So we either sugarcoat everything and avoid the real issue, or we overcorrect and become overly blunt or critical because we're so uncomfortable with that vulnerability.
Exactly. And neither extreme is going to lead to a productive or healthy conversation.
Yeah.
It's like trying to walk this tightrope between being a pushover and a jerk.
Right. So we've got fear making us want to disappear, vulnerability making us act out in weird ways, and there's a lot going on here.
There is.
And then to add to this whole emotional cocktail party we've got going on, we have this very real, very human desire for connection.
Absolutely.
As humans, we crave positive relationships, both at work and in our personal lives. It's kind of how we're wired.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does wanting connection play into all of this? Because it almost seems counterintuitive, right? Wouldn't addressing a problem actually hurt the connection?
Yeah, that is the tricky part. It feels so counterintuitive.
It does.
Because we worry that these conversations, these tough conversations, might damage those relationships, make us the bad guy, disrupt that sense of harmony that, frankly, we crave.
Right, because no one wants to be the one, rocking the boat.
Exactly.
But here's where Long offers, I think, a really valuable perspective shift. Connection doesn't mean being liked all the time or avoiding conflict at all costs.
It's not about that at all.
Yeah.
It's about realizing that true connection, like genuine connection, can handle disagreements and even difficult conversations. And in fact, sometimes those conversations, when they're done well, they can actually strengthen those relationships because you're building trust. You're building understanding.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. So it's less about avoiding conflict altogether and more about how we approach it. If we're coming from a place of respect, transparency, a genuine desire to understand, then those conversations become less about, winning or being right and more about finding common ground.
100%.
Yeah.
It's about shifting from that me versus you mentality to we're in this together, and that shared purpose, that understanding that you're both working towards a common goal. that can make a world of difference when you're trying to navigate those trickier conversations.
Totally. So to kind of recap for a second, we've got these like 3 big emotional factors at play here, right? We've got fear, which is making us want to run and hide. We've got vulnerability, making us act out in all sorts of weird ways.
Yeah.
And then we have this very real desire for connection, which makes us, hesitate to rock the boat.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's complex for sure.
It is.
But I think just understanding those underlying emotions is such a powerful first step.
Yeah.
Because once we're aware of them, we can start to shift our mindset and approach accountability in a more, constructive, even, dare I say, empowering way.
Which brings us to, the heart of Long's approach here, right?
Yeah.
She argues that accountability isn't about conflict at all.
It's not.
It's about clarity.
Yes.
That's a huge mindset shift.
It is. And when you approach it from that angle, when you're seeking clarity rather than placing blame, it fundamentally changes the tone of the entire conversation.
Totally. It's like you're not trying to catch someone doing something wrong, but rather understand, why something happened and how you can both move forward in a more productive way.
Exactly. And what I love is that Long emphasizes that this clarity, it's actually an act of kindness.
Oh, interesting.
Both to yourself and to the other person.
Okay.
She even quotes Brene Brown in the book saying, clear is kind. And I just love that because it's so true, right?
It's not about being ruthlessly honest or, I don't know, calling someone out.
It's not about that.
It's about having those sometimes difficult conversations,
Yep.
but doing so with compassion and understanding.
Absolutely. And this actually reminds me of something else that I think trips people up when it comes to accountability.
Okay, what's that?
The whole idea of consequences.
Ooh, yeah?
We tend to view them so negatively.
Yeah.
Like they're inherently punitive.
Oh, 100%.
But Long, she challenges that assumption head on.
Okay, I'm listening.
She argues that consequences aren't about punishment. They're simply the natural outcomes of our actions, or in this case, our inactions.
Okay, so less about you messed up, now you're in trouble, and more about here's what happened and here's the natural result of that.
Exactly. And this is where that mindset shift becomes so crucial. Because when you view consequences as opportunities for learning and growth, rather than punishments to be avoided, it just changes your entire approach to accountability.
That makes a lot of sense. But, knowing all of this intellectually is one thing. How do we actually put this into practice? How do we move from all this negativity bias around accountability to something more positive and, dare I say, powerful?
That, my friend, is where the skill set part of Long's framework comes into play.
Okay, let's hear it.
She argues that mastering accountability really comes down to communication.
Okay.
But not just any communication, communication with purpose.
Communicate with purpose, huh? What does that actually look like in this context?
So it means being intentional about every aspect of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Your words, your tone of voice, even your body language.
Right.
It's about showing up as your best self, even, and maybe especially, when the conversation is challenging.
That can be really tough, though. We're not all naturally gifted communicators, especially when there are heightened emotions involved.
Absolutely not.
And as Long points out, we all have these, ingrained communication patterns, right? Our comfort zones that might not always serve us very well in these situations.
Exactly. And this is where I think understanding different communication styles could be really helpful.
Okay, yeah.
You familiar with those DISE assessments at all?
Yeah, those are the ones that tell you if you're a D, I, S, or a C, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And while we don't want to get too, in the weeds about the specifics of DISC or anything like that,
Right.
the key takeaway here is that not everyone communicates in the same way.
That's so true.
What might feel perfectly clear and direct to one person could come across as super harsh or insensitive to someone else.
Yeah, it's all about how it lands, right?
Exactly. So understanding those nuances, both your own communication style and the style of the person you're talking to, can help you tailor your approach and avoid a lot of unnecessary misunderstandings.
So it's less about labeling someone as, the dominant type or the influencer type, and more about just recognizing that we might need to adjust and adapt our communication style depending on who we're talking to.
100%, yeah. It's like learning a new language.
It really is.
It is. And just like with any new language, it takes practice and consistency.
There it is again.
Which brings us to the third and final element of Long's accountability framework. Practice.
Practice makes perfect, right? Or at least progress.
Exactly. Practice makes progress. Long really emphasizes that accountability, it's not a one-and-done situation, It's not something you check off your to-do list and then you're done.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing practice, this commitment to showing up and continually refining your approach.
So it's about recognizing that we're all a work in progress and giving ourselves permission to make mistakes along the way.
Yes.
To stumble a bit.
Absolutely.
And to learn from those experiences.
Exactly. And just like with any skill that's worth mastering, having a coach or a mentor can be invaluable.
Oh, yeah.
Someone to offer guidance, provide feedback,
Yeah.
and really help you fine-tune that approach and navigate those, let's be honest, sometimes inevitable, awkward, or uncomfortable moments.
Because let's be real, those are going to happen.
They are. But here's the thing. The more you practice, the more confident and competent you become in having those conversations.
That makes sense.
And that's when accountability can truly become a superpower.
Oh, I love that.
It leads to stronger relationships, increased productivity, a more positive and fulfilling work environment. It really does touch everything.
This has been, I'm telling you, such an insightful deep dive. It's amazing how much information and insight she packs into, like, this one chapter.
She does. She's brilliant.
She does. She really is. But more importantly, it's given us a lot to think about and apply in our own lives.
It really had.
It's like that old saying, right? Practice doesn't make perfect, it makes
Progress.
Exactly. We're not aiming for like flawless execution right out of the gate.
Right.
It's about consistent effort, a willingness to learn as we go, and all of that.
Absolutely. And, Long makes a really interesting comparison in the book.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
She actually equates practicing accountability to practicing theater or yoga.
Oh, okay. Tell me more about that. That's fascinating.
Well, think about it. In both of those disciplines, you don't just like walk on stage or into a complex pose and just nail it perfectly on the first try, right?
Right.
There's rehearsal, repetition, feedback. There's a whole lot of learning from your mistakes along the way, and that's okay.
That's so true. Like, no one would expect to just become a master yogi or a stage actor overnight.
Right, exactly.
It takes time, it takes dedication, and it takes, frankly, a willingness to, like, be kind of bad at something before you can be good at it.
100%. And, just like in those fields, having a coach or a mentor can be so valuable when it comes to mastering accountability, too.
Yeah, having that outside perspective, right?
Yes.
Someone to, like, point out your blind spots, offer suggestions for improvement. That's huge.
It is. It's huge. And it's something we could all use a little more of, I think.
Oh, absolutely. So I guess where do we go from here? If there's one thing, just one thing you want our listeners to take away from this deep dive on accountability, what would it be?
I think it really all comes back to that initial mindset shift that Long talks about at the very beginning.
Okay.
Reframing accountability as clarity, not conflict.
Right.
Remembering that these conversations, as challenging as they can be sometimes, are ultimately about connection.
Yeah.
They're about understanding, and they're about working together to achieve a common goal.
And not about being perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Progress, not perfection. Always be kind to yourself, practice those communication skills, and just remember that every interaction, every conversation is an opportunity to learn and grow.
This has been amazing. Such a good deep dive into Chapter 2 of Own Up. I feel like I have a whole new perspective.
Me too.
It's so easy to get caught up in like the fear and the awkwardness around these conversations, but when you really break it down like she does, it's like, okay, I can do this.
Exactly.
So for you listening, here's something I want you to think about today. Think about a time that you received feedback that was both clear and kind.
Ooh, good one.
Right. What made that so effective? How did it make you feel? Hold on to that feeling and think about how you can bring that same spirit of clarity, that same spirit of kindness into your own accountability conversations. Because when we approach these situations with empathy and a genuine desire to understand, you might be surprised at the positive changes that unfold.
Such a good reminder. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. This was great. And listeners, that's a wrap on this deep dive. Make sure you join us next time as we unpack even more juicy insights from Own Up. Until then, keep practicing those accountability superpowers and remember, clear is kind, progress over perfection, and we're all in this together.
Thank you for listening to the Own Up podcast. To get more information about Own Up, go to own-up.com. That's own-up.com. To get more information about Jennifer, please go to her website at jennifertlong.com. If you like this podcast, please subscribe in your favorite podcast player. Thanks for listening.